Welcome to Matinee Heroes presents Castoff. We're here live in Salt Lake City. If you don't know the state, that is just proof of a failing education system. So, very happy to be here. We have a very special 2-episode recording going on today. This is the Castoff where we take your favorite movies and shows and recast them with actors you love. It's the #1 streaming recasting show on the internet because it's the only recasting show on the internet. Yes.
Hey!
And to honor our guest from yesterday, Christopher Eccleston, who I had the pleasure of talking to, we are going to recast Doctor Who. And I have got some great panelists who have been on the show before, but also we have some new ones who have never been on the Castoff but deserve to be here. First off, Robert Neal, welcome.
Thank you.
If you don't know Robert Neal, he has some great, fantastic photographs of figures on Instagram, and that is?
Action Figure Theater.
Action Figures Theater. Every day, a brand new picture of action figures doing wonderful things. If it's Thursdays, there's a lot of coffee cups on Mondays.
There's coffee cups every day, but it's different days have different things. Like Tuesday is Tuesday.
Question.
Yes.
You post 2 pictures all the time, and one's without a cup, and one is with the cup.
I'm changing up a little bit because I'm doing now, because just for general toy photography, I will do one without a cup, and I'll do the same scene with a cup for my capes and coffee hashtag.
So you're doing one for the state of Utah without the coffee, and you're doing one for the rest of the country with the coffee.
Because the rest of the country can be adults that way.
I like that you have niched your demographics so well. You are great. Great marketing. And of course, for those of you who don't know, all the great IT work that happens here is on behalf of the fandom podcasts, Brandan Ushio. Brandan is the IT guy here who has kept everything up and running.
As surprisingly so, it's worked this time.
I have not heard of any complaints. What's been happening on the fandom podcast lately?
Fandom podcast is on a bit of a break, as friends would call it. However, we have some episodes recorded.
Is there something that we need to know about? Have the podcasts separated? Are you living in on the couch?
No, we're good. We're good. There's been something going on this past 18 months that has kind of thrown worlds for a loop. Just saying.
Elephant pregnancy, 18 months.
That's what it was. How did you know?
It's just little tidbits that I have in my head. So the Fandom Podcast, which can be found at?
fandompodcast.com. It's real creative.
It's real difficult to find. So for those of you who know, there are actual rules to what's going to happen today. We are going to name a character, and they are going to give us their pick for an actor. Then you are going to vote on which one you like the best. Whoever gets that vote gets a point. I am also picking, because I love doing this. This is something we do on Matinee Heroes every week. We recast shows as part of the show. It's a small part. But if they happen to think like me, God love you. I'm sorry. But if they match, it could be 1 point as well. It's a great way if you get behind. You can easily get 2 points if you think like me and the audience likes it as well. Person with the most points wins because we are in America. We don't believe in ties. Ties are for Europeans. And if there is a tie, we will ask them a double feature, and then you will pick which double feature is best to go with the television show or movie we're going to do. So we are going to start off that every single episode of Matinee Heroes Castoff is brought to you by Matinee Heroes, and today's episode that came out this morning is our Patreon edition, because we're doing our Patreon drive, Walk the Line, the story of Johnny Cash. It was a great movie. You can head over to matineeheroes.com to subscribe, and while you're there, you can go to matineeheroes.com/castoff, and you can find the video feed, and you can subscribe to the YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, however you want to watch it. So, we're going to talk about Doctor Who. How many people here love Doctor Who? Yeah. Oh, this is the draw, because Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, you guys have no idea what's going to happen. So episode 2 is going to be pretty thin. But stick around for episode 2, because that one's going to be a little more fun.
What are you saying?
Are you going to do voices for us?
No, that's why this is going to be more fun, because I'm not going to do voices.
Yeah. Oh, I can't do voices either.
You've heard me do voices before.
So of course we're going to start with the Doctor. The Doctor has to be able to run, say quippy things, and has to be enigmatic, but also absorb all the personalities that have come before. So I can't remember who goes first. So we'll start off with Is it? You
Yeah,
know that
that's
actress?
mine. That's my guy.
Brendan, who do you have? Now that I know who goes first, and we'll alternate. Brendan, who do you have as the Doctor?
So the Doctor's Robert Sheehan. You probably know him from Craig. Am I stepping on your lines?
No, those are yours.
Okay, so you know him from Umbrella Academy, Mortal Engines, Misfits. That was my first introduction to him. But really, I was just looking for the witty character who can do quirky, who can run, who can have multiple personalities. And I think that he would do a great job as the Doctor. And of course, most importantly, he's British. That is important.
Well, he's also in Bad Samaritan, where he could easily call up David Tennant, who was in that, and get advice. So
Right.
Sometimes networking helps with the recast. So, Robert, who do you have to go against Robert Sheehan, who I don't really know?
I have Helen Mirren.
Oh, yes. Helen Mirren as the Doctor? I mean, she's an ageless beauty. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the Queen. You have Mosquito Coast. But for me, watching her in Red and seeing her take on a role that was completely unexpected and being able to pull it off with a little bit of comedy at the same time, let alone the Fast and the Furious movies, she's my Doctor.
Oh, this is when we do the cast-off, we use, and we've done it from day one, Doctor Who rules, which means they can use any character through space and time. They can switch genders, they can switch anything they want as long as they feel that character, that actor is the best person for the character. So right away, I'm already excited about Helen Mirren because I call my pug, she's 16, she's getting really old. I call her the Helen Mirren of dogs because every year she gets cuter and cuter despite the fact she gets older and older, and Helen Mirren gets hotter and hotter. She's still beautiful. It's crazy. The rest of us are getting older and not looking as good, and she's just laughing at us. She's driving cars with Vin Diesel. So we have Robert Sheehan, Helen Mirren. Who thinks Robert Sheehan would be the best Doctor? Besides, so we have two over here. Who thinks Dame Helen Mirren would make the, and every hand goes up. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. Helen Mirren. So Robert gets the point. I went with Richard Ayoade.
He would be great.
Because he's notoriously nerdy from the IT crowd. And I still hope he will be the Doctor. But that was my pick. Why?
The way that he acts on the IT crowd is very up in Doctor-like.
Yeah, but have you seen his travel show?
Yeah.
He's very nice. And he can act. He's an actor. Anybody have a Doctor they'd like to see? Tom Holland. Oh, you're going to go with a very young Doctor. So she's just going for a hunky Doctor.
I feel like he fit all the things that you said, though.
He can run. Yeah.
And just
Okay.
British. He's also British.
Yes, but I can see her panting a little bit and going, it's Tom Holland.
Craig, I'm panting a little bit here.
Uh-huh.
I'm panting a little bit here, too.
Yeah, we know that. We know your situation with Tom Holland. It's well established. Anybody else have a good pick for the Doctor? No? I saw you point to him like, come on.
They like Robert Sheehan. Don't try to take that from me.
You want to change your vote now to Richard Ayoade? Okay, that's so I have. It's now a tie. No, because there was way too many. There was way more for Helen Mirren. So now we move on to the companion, and this can be anybody you want to be the companion. My favorite is Rose because I have my own. My wife looks a little bit like Billie Piper, but more sexy, and so I'm very fortunate to have my own companion. So we're going to start with Robert. Robert, who is your companion?
John Boyega.
John Boyega, known for being a traitor.
Yeah.
Why John?
Well, John he can do different things. He can do dramatic. So in the roles in the episodes that call for something to be very serious, you have something that's somebody who can do that. Somebody who can do the surprised comedic role. We see a lot of that with Finn in the sequel movies for the trilogy, or the sequel trilogy of Star Wars movies. But also somebody who I think makes a good opposite to an older, mature Doctor, a younger companion, but it also is less the boyfriend-girlfriend Doctor and companion, and more senior person, or senior, more knowledgeable person, and younger...
Mentor-mentee.
Well, mentor-mentee, but also just somebody who's wide-eyed and a little doughy-eyed in some things, and then being able to look at the wonder of things through the eyes of somebody who's literally seen it all.
Very good explanation.
And he's British.
And he's British. Yeah. That's all right. So that's a good one. John Boyega,
Bring it.
what could you possibly do? What could you possibly do to it's Finn, for God's sakes.
Okay, so the TARDIS has this amazing ability to translate for any species, any language, right? And
Klingon?
anything. So I thought that, Robert Sheehan, he's quirky, he's weird sometimes. He needs to play off of a companion that could just make him look completely crazy until it's like, oh, no, this is great. So the companion that I went with him is man's best friend, Soccer, the dog, who you might know as Wishbone from PBS's Wishbone. Imagine the dynamic of him talking to a dog, and people are like, why are you talking to a dog? And then because the TARDIS can translate, have the dog talk back. I think that's something they haven't tried yet. I know they've got K9, but he's a robot, and so you kind of expect him to talk. But they have not done a companion that would be anything like Soccer the dog or Wishbone.
Wow.
So, for the companion, we have John Boyega. We have Soccer the dog. How many people would love to see John Boyega as the companion? Oh, we got 2, 4, 6. And how many would like to see Soccer the dog? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You are so lucky that Furry is in the audience, because that's number 7.
Yes!
You broke the tie. You pandering SOB. That was a complete pander, that's Soccer the dog.
I would watch that all day long.
I know that was a pandering pick, because when I was making the PowerPoints and I put this picture up, my wife was walked in and she went, oh, and I'm like, that's what he's doing. But that's part of the game when we do it live. So I went with Sue Perkins. I love her from the Great British Bake Off. I think she would make a great companion. Who has a great companion they'd love to see on Doctor Who? Daisy Ridley, absolutely. I think it'd be kind of a waste. She'd be a good doctor. But Daisy Ridley, of course, she'd be good with John Boyega. They could be companions together. Anybody else?
Great TARDIS team.
Huh?
That
Team
would be a
TARDIS.
great TARDIS team.
Yes, right. There you go. All right. Well, now we get to the Master, the arch nemesis, and I guess the boyhood best friend. I mean, they seem to be the people they love each other, but they don't love each other, and the Master only exists because the Doctor and all that other good stuff. So, Brandon, what pandering, lowbrow, sneaky pick did you pick for this one? What animal did you pick for this?
There's no animal here.
Okay.
Well, he might be considered an animal. It just really depends on where you know him from. But my master, I think a young Tim Curry would do an amazing job.
Oh, and that's
Clara
what
Tim Curry.
Yeah, he's devilishly awesome.
Get out.
Absolutely.
Get out.
That one is pandering. The dog one, I want to see the dog one. But that one may have been pandering. But he'd be great.
Of course he would be great. Of course
He's great in everything.
Everybody's been doing him on that. What was it? John Master? Who's the one, David Tennant's master?
Oh, John Syme?
What was it? John Sims. There you go. Thank you very much. You were saying it, but you have 2 masks on, so I couldn't hear you. John Sims was basically doing Tim Curry as best as good, because Tim Curry's awesome.
So why not have the original
Exactly.
instead of the imitation?
Because we can go back in time and get a young Tim
You got a
Curry.
TARDIS.
All right. Robert?
I never did like you. I went a little afield here, not British, but Javier Bardem.
Oh, he is villainous locos. He is crazy bad.
Because I want somebody who can challenge the Doctor, but I don't want a manic Doctor like we had with Tennant's master. I don't want somebody who's quite as Missy, but somebody who has gravitas and can, they say something quietly and you're like, there's a lot of questions about that I'm not sure of. And Bardem brings that to a role.
And he's super crazy in Old Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men.
But he does the crazy when he needs to, but he can do the quiet, menacing evil as well.
Sure.
Which I would like to see a little more of rather than just...
And he's going to be in the new Dune, so he's ready to go. And I think he's from Spain, correct?
Yes.
So we have at least European. So if you're going to have a British Doctor, at least you can have a European master. All right. So we have Tim Curry. Javier Bardem. Who would like Tim Curry? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's
You
okay.
pandering has seemed to have worked. Oh, I screwed that up. Who wants Javier Bardem? Oh, 3. So, Brandon, with back-to-back panders, is playing the audience like a violin and is up 2-1.
I just want to say, Craig, your audience that's listening on the podcast, they're missing out on a ton of visual gags up here. Just saying.
Yeah, that not because I will have this visuals up later. Anyways, I went with Hugh Laurie because I think Hugh Laurie would be great at being evil because they really chew the scenery when you're the master. And of course, he's known for never getting it right because it's always lupus or it's never lupus. I think he's always running up. If you watch House, the first 45 minutes he's the worst diagnosis in the world. He's supposed to be the best. But he's also great in that Avenue 5 or where he's the starship captain of the cruise ship. Very
Blackadder.
funny.
You can't forget Blackadder with that guy.
I can forget Blackadder because most of the people in this room weren't alive when Blackadder happened. And they're all going to leave when we do Glengarry Glen Ross because they weren't old then. So now we get to, she is such a wonderful lady. She was such a sweetheart. My wife got a picture taken with her at con once, and they were like, you know how many of you got photo ops? You know how they're like, get you right through. Don't talk to the star, just move along. And my wife is such a wonderful person that she follows the rules. And so when the lovely Alex Kinston started to talk to her, she's just, I gotta go. I'm not allowed to talk to you. So she's just like, she's walking away. And I'm like, honey, she's saying things to you. She's like, you look very nice today. How beautiful. And she was such a sweetheart. And I love her dearly. So this is gonna be the hardest for me to replace. So Robert, I believe, has the floor. How on earth, and we only have 2 actual characters you're going to replace. It's easy to think of a doctor. It's easy to think of a companion. But this is Alex Kingston. Who do you got to possibly pale in comparison to the lovely Miss Kingston?
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I like how you are gender bending. That's great. He is known for guys that are super brilliant. So why River Song?
Because I think that the dichotomy of him with Helen Mirren, a young Chiwetel Ejiofor and an older Helen Mirren meeting at the opposite ends of their lives in different parts of the relationship, I think would play off very well and would confuse the hell out of John Boyega for another thing. But I think that he also he's a great actor for broad spectrum of comedy, drama. You want it, he can bring it and he can make you feel it. And I think that he would be a perfect addition to the TARDIS crew, as it were, or the TARDIS family.
Yeah.
Because he would bring something a little different, but you could still get a little bit of warmth between the two of them as the Doctor and River find that common ground that, oh yeah, I remember you, or I don't remember this, I haven't done this yet. And I really just want to see him go, spoiler, sweetie.
Well, I will say that Capaldi and Kingston were wonderful together. And those are the 2, that's the couple. If you're
Yes.
I ship them, I guess that's what the kids say. So, Brandon,
Okay, so
which animal are we going with here?
I'm actually going with somebody that I actually only know as an animated character, but it's because...
Was he in Sherlock Gnomes like Chiwetel Ejiofor?
No.
I like harassing
that's a great
Brandon.
pick. That's a great pick. However, I don't know how many of you have watched Lower Decks, which is the animated Star Trek show.
Yes, very good.
There is a character on there that reminds me very much of River Song because can be completely irreverent, can be funny, but is so capable if she just goes that I think she would be amazing as River. And so the actress that does the voice for her is Tawny Newsome. And she is amazing as Mariner Beckett on Star Trek Lower Decks.
Yep, and also she's also in Space Force. She is she's the one that went to Harvard and all the stuff, and she's the helicopter pilot, and she has to cart around the family, and they give her like errands to run. But if you are a podcast listener, I highly suggest both Comedy Bang Bang, which is fantastic, where she appears on occasion, and her own podcast, Yo, Is This Racist? So she's very good. Improv master, very good. So we have Chiwetel Ejiofor, which I had to practice that name for a whole week. Tawny Newsome, which I did not have to practice at all, because she's awesome and I like her too. So who do we have who wants Chiwetel Ejiofor as Alex Kingston's River Song? And you can keep the name because we had River Phoenix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, 10. When actually the crowd is growing, so it's going to make it more difficult for me because I can't count. And who wants Tawny Newsome? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the back, but the furry said,
Two more,
"Screw
come
you,"
on, two more.
And that's it. No, we're not
Can I get another
bargaining.
one? Can I get another
So, thankfully, it's now, what is it, a tie, I believe, which is great because if you had gotten it, we'd be over. So now it's going to be we've come to a
close one.
tie.
It is a close one.
And I decided I wanted Helen Mirren, so you came close. My River Song is, because I think she would be great at any age. You pull
Well,
her
to
in
be
from
honest-
the 1970s, she's gorgeous. Pull her in from the 1990s, she's gorgeous.
Before I put these answers down, everything was Idris Elba originally.
I'm sure. Yes, that's her doctor, that's her companion, that's her,
Your vote now doesn't matter to me because thank you, Heather.
yeah.
This entire cast tells me I'm your favorite character.
There,
Well, now we get to Captain Jack Harkness, played by the great John Behrman. And has anybody seen Behrman here at FanX? He is crazy. He is wonderful and sweet. I mean, he's a little out there, but he's out there in a good way, I think. So who are you going to have as the pansexual, time-traveling face of Bo? And we're going to start, I guess, Brandan, this is it, man. You've got
This is
one
it.
last one.
All right. So you need somebody who is just as out there, just as crazy, just as beloved by fans. You need somebody who is very, very American in this role for the character's sake, not just casting-wise, but for the character. And I went with Nathan Fillion.
Yes,
I like that reaction right there.
He's the poor man's Han Solo. That's right. From Saving Private Ryan, he was the one that they thought was Matt Damon, and they found out he wasn't.
How do you got Serenity up there, but you don't have Firefly.
No, because it's our show is about movies,
But we're doing a TV show.
but we're doing movies. Doctor Who was 2 movies. Peter Cushing
They're not
played
canon.
Doctor Who
They're
in the
not canon.
60s, and Peter McGann played a Doctor Who in the movies. It's movies.
All right.
And then when I run out of stuff, I put the rookie in Castle up there because he hasn't done a lot of movies.
he did Guardians.
huh?
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but I had Suicide Squad, but he wasn't. We had no idea he was in that. Let's be honest.
Fair.
So Robert, your last pick.
So how did you
I
you
flashed
had to
it
have
on there.
somebody
Does anybody
who's out
remember who saw
there,
they
who's-
saw? No.
How did you put it? Somebody who's out there who's a little
Blonde woman.
crazy? I went with Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton, yes. She is known for otherworldly looks. She looks great, but she can also look like in Grand Budapest Hotel. She's 100 years old. In Snowpiercer, she's that weird fascist. Michael Clayton, she's just a regular lady, but in Constantine, she looked like an angel from the heavens above.
And I was going with the Constantine. The way that she played Gabriel in that movie was kind of key for me. There was like, who's somebody who could be a trickster, and you would look at them and go, okay, I'll do that. That's great. I'm all behind you in there. So, Tilda Swinton.
And this picture is when she was in Trainwrecked, because I wanted to find a picture of her kind of like a normal person, because she likes to play a lot of vampires and angels and things like that, and pasty white was not my goal. I was like, look how beautiful she can be, because she is a very stunning actress and model. All right, we've got Nathan Fillion, we got Tilda Swinton. So who is going with Nathan Fillion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and that, my friends, makes it Brandan Ushio's to win. Congratulations, Brandan.
Thank you.
As part of the show, you get the final thought of this episode. So anything you want to plug, anything you want to talk about, you have a minute or so to say anything you want.
Well, obviously, look for my stuff at fandompodcast.com as we start to release new things. But I really want everyone to take to heart the messages from Doctor Who of the acceptance, of the compassion, of the understanding, of to use a screwdriver, not a gun. I really think this show meant a lot to me. So I was really glad that you picked me to recast on this one. Thank you.
Of course. Well, I appreciate you being on. My pick, I went with Ewan McGregor, because when I think of someone who is sexy and willing to do whatever you got to do and be charming, it's Ewan McGregor. But there's the final thought. If you would like to be on the show, we do a video show every Tuesday night, so you have to have a video camera. And you can head over to matineeheroes.com/castoff/application, sign up. and you too might be on the show. We've had plenty of people who've signed up to be on the show and compete. You can also email me, but we're not going to do that one. Let's see. So we're all set. We're done for this episode. I would like to thank FanX for having us here. Please stick around. We're going to have another episode. But as far as the podcast is concerned, we are done. Once again, I want to thank Robert Neal, because you took your name tag away, and I'm looking at you going, I want to thank Nick Fury. And today's winner, Brandan Ushio. That is the Castoff. I am Craig Price. Thank you very much.